here we have a 22-foot whaler. This has got a 225 Verado on it. This is a 2005 with a 2004 engine. This boat has been sitting for probably 10 years or so and has not been used. So we're going to try and go through it and figure out what all we need. I mean, obviously right here I see a bunch of problems with that right there. All the hatches, those are all pulled out, so all that's going to need to get repaired. Honestly, these switches are not that bad. I think we're gonna roll out. I might change that DC port out, but that's just because it's looking pretty bad. I'm also gonna change all those out, but this is actually not looking too shabby at all. This key switch, I'll change the key switch. The lanyard, I'll change the lanyard, but these switches, these are just gonna get new covers. And here is the list that I have right now. Just a bunch of stuff: the anchor lights, the vents for the bilge, the float switch, the bilge pump should work, the batteries and all the cup holders, all that stuff. So got a pretty good list. I need to go and search everything out, see how much it all costs. Gauges I'm going to send out to Gauge Saver, and then the rest of this is going to kind of be what it's going to be. This is, you know, open. I got to figure out how to cover those holes. And the rest of this, I mean, this is all trash. I'm going to throw all this stuff away. Cushions I'm going to keep outside of the Triumph cushion. Those are going to be saved for the upholstery guy, for him to make the new upholstery. Green bottom paint on here. I don't know who put green bottom paint on here, but at some point in time someone thought that green was the color to match with blue and black. So blue and black matches great with green. I don't know why they did that, but someone did that, and it looks like they got some black on here too. Well, so I mean, looks like it's had quite a few different color schemes on it. So now at least I have my list. Actually, I need to measure for the Bimini top, so that way I can see how much the Bimini top's going to cost. And our engine here, I have found some other problems, being that the bracket is cracked. So whether or not I'm going to spend the time to take this off or not, that's a whole nother story, because this is a 2004, so to get the power head off of a 2004 is going to be a complete nightmare. Whether or not I can do it or not, I mean, not that I can do it, whether or not I really want to put the time into that is the real question. All right, I've got a jump pack on the battery here, and then what I've just done is kind of went through all my switches. The only thing that doesn't work, my bilge works. That's good to go. And this one right here, which is a Bait Century 100, that live well is not working. This one's working, and this washdown is working. If I come back here, this one doesn't look good. I mean, you could hear it, but I'll probably end up changing that washdown pump out. But first, I want to go ahead and you can hear that other live well running. This is what I'm looking like for the first day. I went ahead and got most of this stuff ordered. I spent about 3 hours on this, just looking up the parts and getting the prices. One thing that I did notice about these batteries and where they're placed is you can see all this water and stuff. So that means that hatch has got rainwater that leaks in there. So I do want to move these to the back of that spot where they're sitting a lot further. That way it'll kind of protect them from water that gets down in there. And they are totally bone dry, so we're going to go ahead and top these off with water, and then we're going to stick them on the charger and see if we can't get them to come up. That's awesome. Okay. All right, we got this thing charging. I went ahead and put a meter on here just to double check. So we're putting 13.5 in there. I'm only doing 6 amps because these are bone dead. So I want to give them a small amount. You don't want to, like, you know, put a lot, like a 25 or 175 amps. You don't want to do that on a completely dead battery. We need to bring them up slowly. Check the oil here. Okay, so oil is dirty, a little bit high, no water, kind of sludgy, so it just means that it's just really old. So we'll be able to run it on that for now. And then also our plugs, pulled the plugs out, all the plugs looking good, looking clean. So I'll be able to reuse these. I'm just going to now squirt some oil in here, turn the engine over to get everything lubed up, and then we will go back to getting fresh fuel. We'll try and start the engine. Now we got good clean fuel all the way up through the FSM and into the fuel rail. Just need to prime it one more time, get all the air out of this. When I turn the key on, water going. So let's start it and make sure this thing's gonna run. That's going to be it for the second day. So we got this panel out. We're going to be getting that ready for paint. We've pretty much got everything ordered. We're going to start off today with painting this right here. I'm going to go ahead and scratch all this up. I'm just going to be using some 150 because that's all I got, and I'll just hand sand this down, and then we're going to paint this with a matte black. And here is a bunch of the stuff that we got here. Got our battery switch that needs to go in, got our cup holders, got our compound. All right, now that our paint is drying, I'm going to go ahead and take our mold and mildew remover and start kind of working on the inside of here, get this kind of cleaned up. This is like this for a lot of these Washdown pumps. Here's the old one that we've got. This is a SureFlow Pro Blaster, and this is the SureFlow Pro Blaster 2. So you'll notice that this is the new bracket, and this one sits on like this, but it's completely different from the old bracket, which I pulled off of here. Now the holes don't really line up as far as these middle ones, so what I did was I just put a pencil mark there, drill it out, and then that way I can move this bracket over to the new pump. Well, the liquid electrical tape is getting a little bit old, so I might have went a little heavy on that, but that's looking good on the back of the switch. I'm gonna go ahead and put that back on, and I got my cables labeled so that way I can go ahead and get those ready for my battery cables. Okay, here is what we're looking like right now. I know it doesn't look like much, but we are moving along. And we also have the moment of truth for our batteries. So this is one of the batteries. We came up to just under 13, so this bad boy's just fresh off the charger. 10-1. Oh yeah, that one held strong, so we're good to go there. And this one over here, see what this one looks like. Right now we're at 12 and a half, 13, 10, 1. Woo, she's smoking. Well, great. I told you it was weird. All the way to the combo. Got my trays in there looking real nice, both of them. That way we can slide our batteries in really easy. I do need to get 2 new screws to put there to close those old holes. I just don't want those holes sitting there. Other than that, I mean, clean this thing out. I'm gonna slide my batteries in here, clamp them down. Those will be that. Also, this fits back far enough so it's pretty much covered when you look from the top. Yeah, that is looking beautiful in here. Got those nice and tight. and now we are looking pretty legit in here. Pump's looking good. I need to wire up this pump, that's all that's left, but our power steering pump is wired up, bilge, stereo, all that's fixed. And I'm gonna get my float switch installed, and once I get the float switch installed, then I also want to get this wiring kind of cleaned up, as well as that live well replaced, and the wiring to that live well and the fuel tank and all that cleaned up as well. This bilge pump's really quiet. I don't know if you can hear it or not. You can hear it a little bit. So that's good to go. In here trying to clean up this wiring and all this stuff, and I took this hose off. Look at that thing. It's all split open, so good thing we took that off. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that and try and get this on here. Okay, we're looking beautiful in here. Gonna be using also some Mother's Back to Black trim and plastic restore, so I did get some pads in. This one's not puffed up yet, but I'm gonna try and see what this stuff will do to this cowling, if it'll Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to polish these back. I mean, I could polish them to that, but it's still gonna be, it's not as faded, but it still looks faded. I mean, it's like a shiny faded look. Today's goal is gonna be just clean out this whole compartment, get ready to work in here. Okay, that's looking a lot better in here. I mean, it's not perfect, but this stuff is old and stained, and I don't know if there's really a better way. I'm gonna take a look and see if there's a better way, but at least now I got this clean enough where I can come in here. Oh yeah, that is 100% better. Well, these are through bolted, so that means that I have to take that thing off in order to get those out, so they can just stay there for right now. I'm going to take this off and put the new one on there just to get it. So this is a telltale sign of a leak. If you look in here and you can see the fluid on the back there, all that fluid back in there, that's how you know the cylinder's leaking. So that's that. Now let me go ahead and run over here and take that off that other one. Well, looks like this steering cylinder is no better than that one. This one's already been rebuilt and painted. I went ahead and pulled this thing out and got it all cleaned up too, sprayed down. It's obviously not perfect, but way better than it was. And before I leave today, I want to go ahead and hit it with this. This is some Zep mold stain and mildew stain remover, and just a pump, HDX multi-use pump sprayer. So that looks way better. I want to try something on this real quick before I get going in here. This is all looking real good from yesterday when we got it all cleaned out, but I want to try some of these better boat erasers that I have. Okay, this is starting to look really good, but I have one problem, and I mean this sticker, these stickers, that one, getting that off, I need to probably use some chemical. Well, I think all I really did was burn the Gelcoat with that eraser. That did not work the way I wanted it to, so you got to be careful doing that. There's still like a there's still a sticker there. I need an adhesive remover to get that off. I got my magnet cleaned back up, and so I can go ahead and put this on the boat. And then we have also got a few magic erasers. We're gonna try these bad boys out. I particularly want to try the bath one. That's a no-go on the upholstery in here. I tried all three of the erasers and not one of them really touched any of that. I mean, I guess you can tell a little bit. It scrubbed some of the stuff off, but for the most part, like this is what this is gonna look like in here. This is a custom Art Deco Okay, I've got everything cut and it's looking really good. I need to wipe it down a little bit more, but now I can come back. I'm gonna wipe it down and I'm gonna switch out my pads and come back with the light cutting polish plus wax, so that way this should shine it up. Well, even though the Gelcoat is super thin, this is really starting to polish up. It came back a lot. Okay, that worked out real well. Hold it into place nice. Let me go ahead and go and polish these two items up, and maybe I'll be able to stick these on, and that'll be it for today. And with a little bit of on off and some colonite, this thing looks amazing. Okay, that looks beautiful. And there is our transducer, looking beautiful. It's out of the way of our ladder. It's going to come down right next to it. Okay, there we go. That's looking beautiful. So now I just need to take my new cover here. I'm probably going to have to cut the back off. You see how it's got that like ridge there? A lot of times I have to cut that off because I don't drill these, and that will be perfect for covering this hole here. Okay, so here's our wire all the way through. I'm just going to pull it out to like there, and then I'm just going to coat this thing in sealant, and as I put it in, that sealant will just feed up in there. And that is beautiful out here. So that's our transducer. We got her mounted. I can start to lift up to put into my dash panel up there. So I'll probably start getting those kind of up out of my way. That's going up into that top there. I need to undo this and figure out what's in this. I got quite a bit of wires that go. You know, I gotta be surprised. I did not realize how much wood is in this boat. Look at this. Look how tight this wire is. They got this biscuit just smashed. Okay, so this light works good, but my horn does not. So here's got the speakers out. I want to make sure that they fit in these holes, and as long as they fit that same blueprint, then we'll be good to go. I'm gonna get these speakers right here ripped out. I'm gonna have to grab somebody to help me run the impact on this side so I can take the nuts off the back, and then what I'll do is I'll just wet sand around the hole, and then I'll compound it and polish it. That way around the speaker will be all done, so I can put the new speakers in, and that be not a problem. I'll go ahead and hit that as well. Well, they're not completely identical, but they're going to work. I can actually match up, you know, one hole with another hole. Alright, this is looking beautiful. So now I can go ahead and stick my speakers back in there. Got these all nice and polished up. Alright, got both of our speakers in up here. That's looking real good. I went ahead and just used 2 through bolts on the back of them. We've got our Shakespeare antenna, so let's put our antenna in. We've got this right here, so we can stick it right there, and we'll get this installed right there. I got a little bit of grease I'm going to put on there, so that way this right here. And that is beautiful. So there we go, got a nice whip antenna. That's all nice and clean. All right, that does not look too bad at all. These are going to be sealed up. You know, you can't even tell. I mean, there's 2 screws in the back. That one I covered up. This one over here is obviously visible, but I kind of angled it a little bit, so that way when you're driving you can kind of maybe see a little bit more than if it was like completely vertical. I just didn't like that. So I'm going to put this like this, start putting my breakers in one by one, and go across here, putting the new boots on there, so that way I can then pop this thing in there, and then once I pop it in there, then I can put all of my new rocker switch covers on there. Swing! Yeah, those look awesome. I'm gonna take these bezels off and not sure which ones I want. And this is starting to look beautiful. So all I need is that one switch. Cup holders in, they are looking great. I could have swore that this was going to fit this hole, but it looks like it doesn't, so I don't know if I'm going to put this one in there, because we've already got to make a spot for there. We already got to make a plate for the radio, and I really don't want to make two plates. Okay, so we got our ceiling back in, get the roof up. I got plenty of wire here, so when I pull the compass I can just pull this wire and that's going to be plenty. I'm gonna go get some heat shrinks and attach my wires here to my, let's go to my speakers, and then that way I can put this thing on there. Got both of my speakers wired up here, all heat shrinked up. This wire here, I just notched this little piece out here, that way I can slide the wire in. This will be back here. This wire is going to be in here. I probably could clamp it to the top, but for right now I'm just going to stick this thing up there, and if I want to clamp it later I can. Got our compass in here, looking nice, wired up. So that pretty much does it for up here. I'm pretty much done up here. Still waiting on a nav switch. That won't be till tomorrow. But for now, I think I'm gonna come back here and start working on this situation back here, being those grounds. All right, this is looking beautiful in here. There we go, that's much better. So when we put the piece down in here, this is gonna be tucked in there. It's not gonna be rubbing. That's no longer gonna be an issue. Same thing for this one. We got that one tucked in there nice and neat. At this point in time, I'm just adding things to my list of what I'm doing. I got this wire crimped, ready to pull. I'm gonna let that cool down so that way it makes it nice and smooth. Here's my amp. I've unfortunately got controls over here and then the wires over here. So I'm gonna stick this thing probably about same height as the back of that, just across here like this. Oh yeah, that's sweet. That's looking good there. Now I can run all my wires out here, boom, right to the amp. Pump's looking good, amp's looking good, and then this thing's going to cover this all up, so yeah, this is starting to look clean in here. And Jesus just showed up with our cushions. These look beautiful. Love the diamond pattern. So we're gonna go ahead and get these set up in there and get them put up in the boat. Perfecto.
Sí, es saber el ángulo que le di si me sirvió. Perfecto.
This right here, I'm gonna see if I can't get this thing to spin, because this is where it's all gonna come out the bottom. If I can get that thing to spin, that's what's really holding it up. You can see the rust around there. Alright, well, I am having zero luck with this engine right here. While I was farting around, I went ahead and cleaned this rub rail. Looks like I will be able to save this rub rail. Okay, got this all ground down over here and over there. That's all good, ready for bottom paint, because we're going to bottom paint all this black. Let me go ahead and mix up my resin, and I'll plug this hole here. Yeah, and then I tried to like cover it up. Oh, there it is down there. So let me grab that, and I'll tie up and pull this wire up to the front, and that'll be pretty much everything I need to do. Once I get that wire up here, I can put the back plate on there. I don't know if I'll get to it today, but at least that'll be done. Okay, so that is back here. There's my wires. I gotta find out where to hide that whole loom of stuff there. I might be able to, I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that, but that's gotta be back here. Beautiful. So now I'm just gonna run up the 4200, goop up around the bolts here, stick this thing up there. I'm gonna run around each hole, stick them through, tighten this thing down, and that'll be our jack plate on, and then we can go ahead and get our Raptor and stick it to the side of the jack plate. There we go. That is jack plates on there, looking good, looking smooth. Yeah, that looks awesome. That's a big biscuit right there. This looks really, really good in here. This is really starting to clean up here. This is what we got going on with the horn here. I got one of these things. It's kind of flat, looks like that. Got my wires sticking out, and I'm just gonna mount this thing, you know, however I can mount it, like this. Looks like this is gonna work, but let me try this out a little bit. I might need to cut some of this starboard out, but let's see here. That'll work. I'm good with that. Okay, we got the inside of here looking pretty good. I gotta button this up a little bit with these wires. They gotta go this way, but everything else, it's all gonna go this way. But over there is all done. So I'm not entirely sure where I want to stick this yet. I mean, I could stick it here, but then you kind of got to reach down in there to get it. I could put it there to cover that thing up, but again, you got to reach down in there to get it. Or I could stick it up here, which is probably going to be the best spot for it. I'm gonna go ahead and put my new navigation lights on there. Okay, we went ahead and hit the rub rail with the woody wax, and that's looking really good. Obviously you can tell it's still an old rub rail, but it's looking really, really good compared to what it was. All these letters are gonna have to come off. This is coming out really good. Looking at this in the sun, this looks a lot better. You can still see got some spots to gonna need some work. Still gonna need to hit it one more time. Okay, we got our leaning post all wet sanded and cleaned up. Live well, looking pretty good. Needs to drain a little bit, but that's looking good. All this is pretty much done, all the floor all the way back. Anywhere they're smooth, I have not done the non-skid yet, but clean that up. Just hit it with a little bit of bleach, a little bit of wet sand, magic eraser. Yeah, this side's looking real good. Still looks a little cloudy, but needs to be cut. That is looking 10,000 times better. Other than that, I'm just gonna hit, you know, this right here and the rest of this non-skid, and then we'll start compounding the top half of the boat. Probably just go around the cap, see if I can't just knock out as much of this tonight as possible. This is really starting to look beautiful. Never mind all the fuzzies all over the boat. It is raining, so I mean, I'm doing all this in the rain, so it is what it is. All right, this is really starting to look good now. Yeah, look at that. That's got a nice shine to it. So today, I'm gonna come in here and we'll start off by working the rest of this front half with the compound. All right, now this is starting to look really pretty. Now we can go ahead and hop up onto the top side of the boat and start working on finishing the cut. Yeah, this looks really good. Well, I already wrapped the cord once and then I pulled it out and that was all she took. So I need to now go and take this thing apart and reconnect whatever just got pulled out because this no longer works. So that's just fun.
So then I'm like,
There she is. There's what ripped out. So now I just got to I pulled this back. I just got to figure out where this was. It looks like it goes that white cord down there, but I'm going to take that screw out, pull this little lever off, figure out which one this goes to, connect it, and then we can go back to work. Okay, we're back in business now, so we can get back to work. yeah, you can see it. That looks good. So I got this whole gunnel done, all this done, top cap's all done. So now we're gonna move over. I'm just gonna start working my way around the console just because that side's in the sun. I got shade right here, so I might as well just work this right here that's in the shade. Yeah, this thing is just, oh yeah. All right, this is looking absolutely stellar. So what I want to do now is go ahead and got a box of goodies here. Got this latch needs to go on, got this light that needs to go on, the cup holders, got my navigation switch to go in here, right here. So I want to kind of put all these miscellaneous items together, get them all in the boat and done that way. Okay, nav light switch is in. I'm working on the VHF radio, working on this down here. Got the old one out and the new one's ready to go in. My two cup holders are in with the drains and they are looking absolutely stellar.
We're world-class guys helping you apply those lessons to real life. Like I was trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing to this? When I moved out, that section in Hawaii. That should be the number one that you think your lender is your partner. Like, yeah, literally, I think actually probably would say no, I'm not. Well, I should have dug into that. I just kept asking for it. So you just couldn't do it because it wasn't me calling. So now, I was like, oh, 25 grand. But it passed whatever. Young tells me about this like 5-video series from Pat Flynn on my house.
Okay, got my anchor up here, so that's all nice and neat. I'm actually going to go down there and start polishing now that we've got all that done. All right, the rest of the boat has all been polished out. That looks beautiful. This boat looks amazing. Probably be ready to snag the engine and hang the engine on the back of the boat.
That's good right there.
And we got our engine on here, so what I'm actually going to do, this is a 300, I'm going to change this PCM out to the other one, so it's a 225. Okay, now we got there up on the forklifts. I still got some work to do on the engine, but I wanted to get this up on the forks by the end of the day so I can pressure wash this. This needs to be pressure washed, and then once it gets pressure washed, we can bottom paint it. There we go, got her all nice and pressure washed off. This is good. I can bottom paint this. We're gonna do some black. This is black paint. We're gonna be putting that on there, and then also this is a Trilux 33, which is also black, but this is a metal paint. So this is for, you know, developed for aluminum, compatible with fiberglass, and, you know, basically a metal paint. Here are my side chaps and my pieces. This one's all looking good. I need to polish these up. Ooh-wee! Look at this. Ain't that beautiful? Cleaning the engine here, I'm just using a Gunk engine degreaser original. I'm going to just take my garden hose here, and we're just going to give it a little bit of loving, wash all this down. That's all dirty from putting it on, but yeah, we're gonna give her a little bit of water love. Just stay away from the intake, and that's pretty much it. But all the rest of this, you can even see all the salt coming off of this engine. All right, now that we are all clean, I got a little bit of a spot still there. We're going to go ahead and use some engine protector. This is the Shine. This top broke off, so I'm gonna have to do it by hand, but we'll go ahead and work our way around the engine, and we will shine it up with the engine shine, and then we'll be able to finish the rigging and put our cowlings on, and then this thing is going to be beautiful. So tomorrow you'll be able to see what it really looks like. This is great. So all rigged up, good to go. Jack plate's done. Wow, this looks awesome. So first thing that I want to do this morning is I want to put the prop on here, and then once I get the prop on there, I'll go ahead and bring the forks in here, make sure that my plastics covering the fork. I want to get that back over, and I want to pick this boat up and go ahead and hit my section right there. Go ahead and get that painted. Now that is a pretty boat. Bottom paint's all done, blacked out, looking beautiful. Okay, so what I've done is I've got the fuel line hooked up to the filter. I've primed it up. Here's the piece I'm actually gonna put in there, but for now I just want to run the engine. I got the steering hoses down there in the bucket, so that way I can turn this thing on, turn the water on, and yeah, we'll run the engine, purge all this jelly out of the steering, and put new fluid in it, and then we can hook it up to the cylinder.
Lots of jelly there.
I got the engine running and the steering is purged. I will go ahead and put everything back together now, and we can hook my steering cylinder up, as well as go ahead and fill the steering system, take all this stuff up, put everything back together, and we can move on to finishing out this boat. And I can get rid of all this fuel line, and I can put this fuel line in, hook that up, so that'll all be done. Fully cut all the way around the boat, so now what I need to do is just get out the polish, and we're going to hit the polish with the little polisher, low wool pad, and we're about to, once we get that polished, I think we'll go ahead and just splash the boat, and then we can make sure there's no leaks, none of that stuff. Well, looks like we got a little bit of a leak. You can see the water pouring in from there, streaming right there. And of course, I checked all the through holes, all that stuff, none of that is leaking. If you look back here, that drain right there, something's not right with that drain. Oh my gosh. Well, we found the problem. Boston Whaler cut the hose way too short. Look at this. That biscuit has been on there. That thing's been on there with like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. All right, dry as a bone, baby. No leak. Perfect. So now I can put all this stuff back together. Oh man, what a nightmare that. I love Boston Whalers. And hopefully today's going to be our last day. I'm going to get this these hinges and those cushions. I'm just cleaning these up and going to put them back on there for now, because you can't get these things. So I'll put these up here in the front and get the gas shocks on there. These vents are going to go back here in the back over those holes. Well, it looks like I've lost one of these somewhere, but I got one of them things on there. I need to, it looks like the washer that goes in there, I need to put a washer on the top of this. Moving right along. Yeah, if I can find this and find that, then I'll be able to put this thing down. Just take all these off, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them And I'm gonna put this on first before I go cut them. I'm gonna put that down, and then set this into place. Now we're at the fabrication part of this process, because as you can see, these holes aren't going to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these off, kind of line them up the best I can. I think as spacer, I might just be able to cut one of these off, right? And then see how far that moves it over, and whether or not I got to fill the hole or not. I might have to mix up epoxy, fill it in the hole, drill a new hole, and then bolt it down that way. But we'll see how this plays out.
Yep.
Okay, got the Bimini top together. This thing's actually really easy to put together. So what I think I'm going to do though is, judging on, that's the front right there, and then there's going to be backlights that go back. Okay, well this is what she looks like. I just kind of took that screw out just if I were to mount it right there to see what this looks like. And I mean, this looks really good for up here. You know, if you're at the sandbar, you kind of like someone sitting here, someone sitting here and there, you kind of got some shade. All the cushions are on the boat now. This thing looks amazing. Still not sure what I want to do with the Bimini top. I'm still going back and forth on that one, but all the cushions are on. This looks awesome, even with this cooler here. This is just some heavy duty mounting tape. It's about the same thickness. I'm gonna take a razor and I'm gonna cut this down like that to get it to the right width, and then I'm gonna stick it on there with this, and this should hold it. Then I could just kind of, I'll put tape along it, and then with the tape along there, I'll just hit it with some sealant, you know, to clean it up. Surprisingly well. I don't know how it's going to do over the long run, but that's just something that time will tell. I'm just going to probably seal, you know, around this thing, but I'm not going to put a screw in it. Well, I'm going to go back to this Bimini top. I think I'm going to move it back a little bit, and probably I'm going to take these mounts and I'm going to mount them here where the old ones were and see how that looks. Well, I mean, this definitely gives this a lot more shade up here. I think they will just get an extension on the front. I'm going to mount it the way it is. I'm going to take these off, and because they had this thing backwards too. So here's the clips for the tie downs, but those are always supposed to go in the front. So Alright, so I got the Bimini on here. This is what it's going to look like. I went ahead and just opted to put it in the back. If we want to take it off, we can take it off, but at least this way it gives the cockpit all this shade, and then if we want, we could put one in the front. The only thing that I would probably change is this is definitely not that tall, but I tried to keep as much space back here Now all that's left to do is I need to kind of hit all these little things, like all that stuff needs to be hit, and I need to put a new caulk on this line right there. Same thing from this one back here, and then also right here. So as long as I do those, oh, and the fuel sender, that's the problem down here. So I don't know, or it could be my ground. I mean, this thing might not have a good ground. I don't know, that could be my problem too, so I might have to look at that. This is generally how I like to test the fuel cinders. I go ahead and pull the cinder out. I get a known good one because the one that was in there, when I ohm tested it, it was bad. I make sure the ground is good, and as long as I got ohms, so I use my ohm meter there, make sure that that's got good ground. Good ground was confirmed. So then I just took the cinder up to this wire, and I run it up to the engine, plug it in, and make sure that it's reading. So this is reading the way it should. Kind of hard to see, but it says 29, and I can move the cinder up and down and change that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that to the other side of this harness in here, and I'll plug it in and do the same thing to make sure that that harness from there to there is good, and then from there I go to there, because something's between here and there. It's the sensing wire is bad, plus it needs a cinder. So now that was a successful test run. So this is actually the 300 that's on here, but we're going to be taking this thing off because it has 1,667 hours on it, whereas the other 225 only has 104. So that's going to be going on there. It's just we need to take the steering bracket or the swivel bracket off of it and put a different one on there because it's locked up. But they're going to be doing that later. The engine can also go down a little bit. That's going to be the right prop for the boat with the 225. That's about how it's going to perform, as you'll see in a second when I put the video of going out. But we got 46 miles an hour on the GPS, and we got it was at 6,000 RPM. So really a different prop with this engine. We could probably trim this up and be 50. Also with the Bimini top being a giant parachute just sucking the boat down in the water, so that also didn't really help. But it's probably a 51, 52 with the right prop and a 300, but it's only rated for 225, so the 225 is going to go back on there. That's what it's going to run, probably 46 miles an hour. Now the fuel burn at 30 miles an hour was burning about 9 gallons an hour with about 3,400 RPM, so that's really good in a 1 foot chop as well. But we've got one of the day of ticky-tacky stuff, like this in here needs to be cleaned out, and then also, yeah, they need to change out that engine. I'm not going to be around for that, but yeah, that engine will be changed. So this is going to be the last day that I'm on the boat. This was 24 days. We got 170 hours in it, and the next video is going to be the complete breakdown of the time, the days, how much money was spent in the entire boat, and what we think that the boat is probably worth.